Hey everybody, it's Eating Disorder Awareness Week. And I think rather than focusing on currently having an eating disorder, we could focus on how to prevent eating disorders. So with my interns, we had a session and it's available on YouTube. It's an hour and 17 minutes long, but it's such good material for the prevention of eating disorders. So you can see it at our YouTube, which is at Improve Life PLLC. So just type in YouTube Improve Life PLLC, and you can see the session that we had on the prevention of eating disorders. Some of the key aspects, especially when trying to bring up children who are not going to be predisposed to eating disorders, is to really watch what you say, because kids are like sponges and they pick up things. So if you're critiquing yourself or your body, or you're making comments about other people's bodies, negative or positive, honestly, because if it's positive, then your kids will see that you're putting value or associating somebody's worth with an appearance that is out of their control. So really commenting either negative or positively about somebody's body will ingrain in the child this sort of idea that their self-worth or their identity is wrapped up in how they look, and that could predispose a child to eating disorders. So always watch what you say about your body and other people's bodies, because a lot of, if you think back to your own childhood, my mom, my dad, or you think like your parents or somebody in your life is always critiquing their weight or always commenting, I don't like my cellulite, or things like that. And that kind of gets ingrained in the child's mind. So one piece of advice that I talk about in this video here that is on YouTube is to watch what kind of comments you make in front of your kids, because they, even if you think they're not listening, they'll pick up on if you place emphasis and importance on physical appearance. I'm not saying that you can't ever comment, but in my household we try not to say any terms like thin, fat, calorie watching, like making comments like, oh, I've already eaten too many calories today. Kids pick up on that, so avoiding making comments like that is one of the protective factors to protect against eating disorders. Another one would be, and remember this is specifically related to the prevention of eating disorders, which will start early in a child's life, so it has a lot to do with bringing up young children. You want to make sure, and I know this is a hard one because even I've done it myself, is to not reward or punish with food. So don't tell your kid like, oh, if you get all A's, I'll go and get you ice cream. I know it's really hard, but then they start to make these associations with certain foods are good, certain foods are bad. Like maybe they wouldn't have even liked ice cream in the first place, but then you put it on this pedestal and make it like this reward for doing something good. And then they start having these associations. But don't also make some foods like don't say if you have to eat all of your peas before you can have chips. And I know you're like, oh, well, how else can I get them to eat their peas? This is based on the theory of intuitive eating, which is that your kid will eat when they're hungry, what they're hungry for, as much as they are hungry for. And so that in itself is a way to teach kids to trust their own body and to trust their own ability to decide for themselves. Now, if you're ever a fan of Erik Erikson, this part of life is the autonomy versus shame and guilt. And the kids want their own autonomy. And if you're policing their food and you're telling them they can't eat this or can't have that, they might actually... Somebody said, how does skipping meals contribute to lowered blood pressure? Hold on. I will get to that question in a second. Thanks for the audience participation. So basically, whenever you are building these ideas in your child, instilling at early ages, and you're telling them what food they should have, what food they shouldn't have, they may do the opposite and come to fight what is going on. Because, kids, they're pushing limits and they're realizing that they can make their own decisions. And so it oftentimes backfires whenever parents limit the amount of certain foods that they can have. Like, you might find that the kid is sneaking it, and as a parent, you can't literally watch your kid all the time. And so then they get out and you don't let them have candy at home, and they go out and they find candy, they're gonna perhaps eat a ton of it. So it is really a delicate balance. And in the video, this video right here that's on YouTube, which is Improve Life PLLC, you just go to YouTube and search it. I do explain that I'm coming at this from two different angles. One is as a medical doctor, as a physician, where we opine on weight all the time that is actually contrary to my position as a mental health professional, where it's like, stop talking about weight so much. Like, this diet culture that we're in as Americans is just toxic. So I have two coming at it from two different angles. Like, pediatricians always talking about where you are on the growth curve and where you are for your weight and stuff like that. And then from a mental health standpoint, it's like, don't be so obsessed about these things, for goodness sake. And a good point is that physicians always make it seem like the amount of unhealthiness is directly correlated to like how much you gain. Like, if you gain 5 pounds, you're 5% less healthy. You gain 10 pounds, you're 10% less healthy. And in general, if you keep gaining weight, it is a little less healthy, especially from a cardiovascular standpoint. But the actual people that are at most risk for health concerns are the people at the two ends. So if you have your bell curve, the people at the very, very standard deviation all the way over here with the highest weight, but also the people over here with the lowest weight. So you don't want to think of it as like a proportional, like every 5 pounds you gain, that's 5 extra unhealthy points. It's the people in the very highest and the very lowest that have the biggest issues with their health. And so healthcare professionals really get wrapped up in things like BMI and charting weight and things like that. But as a mental health professional, you don't want to place so much emphasis and constantly be telling a kid over and over again, like, you need to lose weight. In fact, the American Academy of Pediatrics states that kids should not be dieting. So it's just really important to get these instilled at an early age in order to prevent eating disorders from occurring in the future, because eating disorders lead to more injuries during sports. They lead to heart issues, and then they can lead to things like suicide. So doing things to prevent eating disorders is great, because eating disorders lead to a lot of bad things. And since it's Eating Disorder Awareness Week, I think it will be all very important for all of us to try to do our part into molding society to maybe have less of a diet culture and more of like a body-friendly, accepting everybody of different body types. And so if you want to hear more, go find this YouTube video right here. You go to YouTube. The link is in my link tree. But if you just search for Improve Life PLLC, you'll be able to watch the whole video and hopefully implement some of these skills in your life. Thanks, everybody.